Ciao a tutti! Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first video with me. Today, I really think that this video will super help you because it will help you to learn new vocabulary. You are going to be using the vocabulary immediately after this video. So it's going to be a short video, but after this, I want you to do a little bit of homework and I want you to immediately pick up this juicy adjectives that I'm going to teach you. They're adjectives that you can use to talk about your hometown, okay? So how is this video going to work? I'm going to be teaching you the adjectives. I'm going to be giving you some examples. And then at the end of this video, you have a little listening exercise. I'm going to be reading out a short little paragraph where I will be describing my hometown. Obviously, I'm going to use these adjectives in this little paragraph. If you want to use them and learn them, I strongly suggest that you do the same. You try to describe your hometown or a place that you really love in the world or an imaginary place or anything, okay? But the important thing is that you're using these adjectives correctly. You don't have to write like a 3-page essay, okay? It can even be a couple of sentences. Write it in the comment. I will check them for you and I will help you to build those sentences, okay? The goal here is to immediately use these adjectives. Do not let them sit there. If you need to see all of these written out, you can download them by clicking on the link below or you find them on my website at italianlanguagehub.com. Okay, let's go immediately to these adjectives. You know that with Italian adjectives, there is one very important thing that you have to remember, and that you need to match gender and number, okay? And we will see that in a couple of the examples so that you can review that rule with me. Let's look at the first adjective together. The first adjective is noioso. Say it with me. Noioso. You have lots of vowels there. Noioso. Now be very careful because your brain might be tricked here because this is a false friend. You might think that this word means noisy, but it doesn't. Noioso means boring. So think of a place on earth that you think is boring and link it with this word, okay? Un posto noioso, a boring place. On the other hand, you could have a boring city. Una città noiosa. As you can see, with the first example, un posto noioso, I used an O at the end of the adjective because I have un posto, which is a masculine singular word, okay? So remember to match it. If on the other hand, I say la città è noiosa, I'm talking about the city. La città is a feminine singular noun. I need to use noiosa, so it ends with an A to match the city, la città. Okay, so this is what I said before. Remember that adjectives need to match gender and number, okay? The examples that I just gave you are in the singular form. You could also have them plural, okay? So noioso, noiosa, noiosi, masculine plural, noiose, feminine plural, okay? So always make sure that you remember those rules. The opposite of noioso could be interessante. So you could say, il museo della mia città è interessante. Once again, this here you have an adjective that ends with an E. Be careful here. Interessante is one of the adjectives that only changes in the plural form. So it will stay like this in the masculine or feminine. So if, for example, I can say il museo è interessante, la biblioteca è interessante. So I have a masculine or a feminine noun, and both of them will have the adjective that ends with an e, interessante. If you're making it plural, this will change to an I, interessanti. Le biblioteche sono interessanti. I musei sono interessanti. Okay, if you need to review these rules, there is a video on that on my channel. I'll put the link here below. Let's look at some more adjectives. You can say caotico. Caotico means chaotic. So think of like a super busy street with lots of shops, lots of people moving around. You can say è una strada caotica. If, on the other hand, you live on a street where there are no shops, there isn't a train station, there's not a lot of traffic, you can say, and you can use, the adjective rilassante. La mia casa è in un quartiere rilassante. Another false friend for you is this adjective, rumoroso. Rumoroso has nothing to do with rumors, but in this case it means noisy. So think of a super noisy place and write a sentence about that place using this adjective. Vivo vicino alla stazione dei treni. È un posto molto rumoroso. Okay, make these adjectives yours. Connect them with things that make sense for you, that you know, that you can visualize. That's a good way to make a bond in your brain and always remember how to use these adjectives, okay? If, on the other hand, you don't live in a noisy place, but you live in a calm, silent place, you can say and use the adjective silenzioso. If you live near a beautiful natural reserve or a woods or something very peaceful and quiet, you could say la zona del bosco è una zona silenziosa. Okay? Once again, make a sentence that makes sense for you. I will give you 2 more examples and then I will give you a list of adjectives, okay? So the next 2 examples are opposites. And the first one is economico. Economico means that it's not expensive. So you can live in a town that's not too expensive to live in, okay? Or its opposite is costoso. Put this in a sentence. Vivere in campagna è economico. Vivere in centro a Milano è costoso. Now, you will see a list of adjectives here that you can use to talk about a city, to describe a city, and I want you to just visualize these, think about how you can use them, and then use them in a paragraph or a couple of sentences to describe things that are near your house or places that you have visited. Okay? This is the list. Stressante. Affollato. Stancante. Grande, piccolo, sano, piacevole, isolato, trafficato, sperduto. Write these adjectives down. Try to see if you can use any of them to write a couple of sentences about your hometown. Now, as promised, here is a little bit of a listening exercise for you. You can also do this as a dictation. So if you want to be sure that you understood all of the things that I said, you can just take a little piece of paper and write down the words as you hear me saying them. This is a very useful exercise, okay? I will be using the adjectives. You can also check and see how I use them, if I matched singular and gender and so on. If you want to have a transcription of this, you will find it in the PDF in the link below this video. Ok? Here it is. Gallarate è una città interessante. Ha dei parchi grandi, pieni di piante, fiori e anche scoiattoli, dove si possono fare delle passeggiate rilassanti. Alcune zone sono rumorose, specialmente quelle vicino alla stazione dei treni o quelle vicino alle scuole. Il centro è piccolo ed è isolato dal traffico. Durante la settimana la città è abbastanza silenziosa, ma durante il fine settimana il centro può diventare affollato con tante persone che fanno acquisti oppure si godono un aperitivo. Gallarate non è una città stressante né sperduta, ma una città piacevole. I'm very curious to read your sentences or paragraphs. Honestly, it doesn't have to be a super long essay, okay? Just a couple of sentences to keep your Italian going. If you need anything, if you want suggestions or if you need corrections, just write me a comment and I will be more than happy to help you out on your Italian language journey. Okay? This is it for today. I'll see you next week. Un bacio. Ciao.